Uyase Shalom Aleinu Ose Shalom Bimroma Uyase Shalom Aleinu Ose Shalom Bimroma Uyase Shalom Aleinu Ose Shalom Bimroma Uyase Shalom Aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'imelu Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Wow, if that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. We learn in the Talmud in Pirkei Avot, Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed, on three things does the world stand. Al HaTorah, Al HaAvodah, Ve'al HaGemilut Chasadim, on Torah, on sacred service, and on acts of compassionate kindness. So too does our Shabbat celebration tonight rely on these sacred guideposts. Our Torah inspires our learning and reflection. Our worship, truly avodah, is sacred work that requires thoughtful attention. Our commitment to compassion, generosity, and love, ideals to which we always aspire. And this week's Torah portion, Achrei Mot Kedoshim, reminds us that our commitment to attain holiness is one that never ends, one that requires us to be in relationship with each other, and one that expects us to be aware of and attend to the world around us. So as we begin our service tonight, I want to remind you of our COVID safety protocols. Please wear your mask at all times. Please remain so distant from those not in your immediate party. And though I know it is difficult, please no singing. And because we know it's really hard to not sing, we're going to be making a few adjustments to our service as we go along, a few less musical settings, some more opportunities to read together. As always, worship is a work, avodah, in progress. If you're on live stream, your Siddur and the order of service are easily accessible to you right below your screen. For those of you in the sanctuary, hopefully you scanned the QR code as you walked in for your order of service. But if not, you can get it on our website, www.beth-elsa.org. And you can go to Shabbat, you can go to the worships tab, and then under that is Shabbat, and all the different handouts and whatnot are there. Okay, I think I've covered all the details, and it's now time to get into that Shabbat mode. As we begin, we of course begin by kindling our Sabbath lights. It's my pleasure to call upon our B'nai Mitzvah, Cameron Bryce and Madeline Rose Lauterstein, along with their mother Rachel and their grandmothers Marsha Lauterstein and Ellen Lasser, to join us on the bima to lead us in their blessings.
As the gods give light to all who told them, so may we by our lives give light to all who told us. As their brightness of the generation of Israel who have light, so may we in our own day be among those.
Source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak to our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We continue with Kiddush on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lama'aseh v'reshit Yom Tehillah, Lemikrai Kodesh, Zeher Litziat Mitzrayim, Ivanu Vaharta, Beotanu Kidashta, Mikol Hamim, Veshabbat Kodshecha, Ve'ahava Uvratzon, Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
L'chaim. We turn now to page 12 as we welcome Shabbat with song, L'chuna Ranina.
Thank you.
And we turn now to page 22 for Mizmor Shir, which is starts at the top. Mizmor Shir leyom HaShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. L'agir baboker chastecha. Le'emunatcha ba'leilot. L'agir baboker chastecha. Le'emunatcha ba'leilot. Mizmor Shir leyom HaShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. L'agir baboker chastecha. Ve'emunatcha ba'leilot. L'agir baboker chastecha. Ve'emunatcha ba'leilot. Mizmor Shir leyom HaShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon.
Turn with us back to page 20 so that we can welcome the Sabbath bride singing Lachadoti. We sing verses 1 and 2, 5 and 9, and when we reach verse 9, we will rise as a congregation, those of us here in the sanctuary, to turn and face the entrance and beckon that Sabbath spirit. And if you're at home on our live stream, we invite you to embrace the fact that your space that you are worshiping is a mikdash ma'at, your own personal sanctuary, a small sanctuary full of your own spirit and love, and to join with us in welcoming that spirit in song together.
Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 leShabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 leShabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor v'tibor echad. Hishmianu el hameyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad. L'shemo tiferet ve'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 leShabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 leShabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nachat, ki mekor haberacha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. dodi likakala yalalai 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 le Shabbat le kabela hitoreri kivare kumiori uri shir daberi kevod Adonai alayich nigla lecha dodi likakala yalalai 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 le Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likakala yalalai 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 le Shabbat nekabela boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'betzola tochem unei am segula boi chala lecha dodi likakala yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likakala yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Turn to those around you, wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Let them know you're glad they're here. Send a wave across the sanctuary, a fist bump where appropriate. On the bottom of page 27, we offer an iyun for transition as we remain standing. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence. With this thought in mind, we transition from our Kabbalat Shabbat pre-worship singing to the main portion of our service. We turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu, and it is my pleasure to call upon our B'nai Mitzvah, Cameron and Madeline, to lead us in the next portion of our service.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. We continue on page 30. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bivaro Ma'ariv Aravim B'chochma Poteach Sha'arim Uvitvuna Meshaneh Itim Umachalif et Hazmanim Sader et Hakohavim B'mishmerotehem Barakia Kirtsono Borei Yom V'Laila Golel Or Mipnei Hoshech V'Hoshech Mipnei Or Uma'avir Yom Umevi Laila Umavdil Ben Yom Uvein Laila Adonai Tzavaot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim. We continue in the middle of page 32. Everlasting love, you offered the people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch Atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We continue on page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated.
We continue together on page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtabtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'sharecha leman tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohim asher hotzeti atem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiyot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohim emet.
On the top of page 39, we continue responsively. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot.
That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness.
That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. On the bottom of page 42, we read together. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up our guardian to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai hapurei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Shabbat is meant to be a taste of the world to come. A moment in time we take time out to reflect, refresh, and hopefully rejuvenate ourselves spiritually. A gift we give ourselves so that we can be more fully present in the week to come. So in place of our Vashamru tonight, I share the words of Rabbi Chaim Stern, recognizing the gifts we receive, the gifts we give every day, though we rarely take the time to notice. Today I know how much I take during the week, for all is a gift. Air to breathe, work to do, love to give and get. Everything is a gift. The gift is life. And the gift of this day is one that enables me to reflect on all the gifts I receive, from the week's first moment to the flame that ends this day of rest. As the dark settles on my patch of earth, thank you, eternal source of life. Amen. We rise now for the Amidah on page 46. The cantor is going to chant the Adonai Svatai, and then we are going to read Avot, Gevurot, and Kedusha in the Hebrew together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim ve'Konei HaKol, ve'Zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot, Umevi geula livnei v'nehem, lema'an shemo ba'ahava. Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol atah rav lehoshia, morid hatal. Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofei cholim umatir asurim umakayem emunato lishenei afar. Mi chamocha ba'al gevurot umi do melach melech memit umachaye umatmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol Baruch ata Adonai mechaye hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh ukadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch ata Adonai ha'el hakadosh. You may be seated. On the bottom of page 55, we read responsively. Disturb us, Adonai, ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans.
Shock us, Adonai, deny to us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred.
Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears.
Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality.
Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. On the top of page 57, ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha beyirah na'avod. On the bottom of page 59, we read together. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. And on page 61, we share in Birkat Shalom, our prayer for peace together. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, amivarech et amo Yisrael. Bashalom. Having offered prayers for peace in our world, at this moment we pause to offer prayers for those in need of healing, those who face the future not fully whole. If there's someone in your life, someone on your mind who you keep in your heart in need of healing, we invite you to think of them. Whisper their names out loud as we add our prayers for them to the prayers for all those who are listed in our order of service, all those in the world in need of healing. And so we offer our prayers singing Mishabera.
Help us find the Please take a moment for your own silent.
I think we're all familiar with the adage, timing is everything. In the past year plus, so much has been canceled or postponed or altered, from weddings and b'nai mitzvah to travel plans, college plans, camp. The idea of timing of any sort has seemed beside the point altogether. Even as we start to inch towards a new normal, life is in a constant state of pivot. What seems true and feels permissible one moment is apt to morph soon after. The constant shifting has had a physical and emotional toll that we're all experiencing. But sometimes current events and planned programs, not to mention Torah portions, come together in a powerful way. Like I said, timing is everything. In my Devar Torah for our Thursday email, I asked, how might we integrate two key commandments in chapter 19 of Leviticus, which is part of this week's double Torah portion, Achrei Mot Kedushim. Commandment 1, Daber el kol adat b'nei Yisrael ve'amarta alehem kidoshim tihiyu ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem. Speak to the whole Israelite community and say to them, you shall be holy because I, Adonai your God, am holy. And a few verses later, commandment 2, ve'ahavta l're'echa kamocha, love your neighbor as yourself. To answer the question of how to integrate these two commandments, we must first try to define how to be holy, and then what it means to love your neighbor as yourself. Rabbi Devorah Weisberg in this week's ReformedJudaism.org Devar Torah focuses in on the command to be holy, highlighting the first part of the verse that has God asking Moses to speak to Kol Adat B'nai Yisrael, the whole or the entire Israelite community. She cites the Hasidic compilation Itarei Torah and the commentary Chatam Sofer, which says, the fact that this section of the Torah was proclaimed in an assembly of the people teaches us that the Torah does not seek a holiness of solitude or separation. On the contrary, you shall be holy in the midst of the community as you are mingling with other human beings. Weisberg continues, citing the Sfas Emes and the Kotzker Rebbe. This language also indicates that holiness should be pursued by the entire Jewish people. Only through the power of the collective can the individual be holy, not through one's power alone. From this perspective, holiness is not found in perfectly executed rituals or even in reciting prayers or reading Torah perfectly. Sorry, Cameron and Maddie. And Megan, who did a great job last week too. But instead, holiness is experienced through being part of community, engaging with others in ethical, compassionate, and thoughtful ways, and in doing the challenging and sometimes uncomfortable work of loving our neighbors as ourselves, our second highlighted commandment tonight. To me, Samson Raphael Hirsch, the great 19th century German rabbi, explains this commandment, the one directly above me on our ark, in concrete and powerful terms. He writes, the expression l'reacha means not love of personality, but care for the welfare of our neighbor as if it was our own. We are obligated to feel afflicted by his troubles. We must keep him from undue pain as though we ourselves were threatened. Last night, about a dozen of us gathered on Zoom to discuss the docu-series, When They See Us, the story of 5 Harlem teens falsely accused and convicted of a brutal rape in Central Park in April of 1989. It is a deeply painful series to watch. It is the antithesis of holiness and loving your neighbor as yourself. And discussing the series just a few days after Derek Chauvin was convicted of murdering George Floyd, it reminded us that while the events depicted in the series happened over 30 years ago, the way that that American society views people of color, particularly boys and men, and the ways they are treated in our criminal justice system have not changed very much, if at all, in the past 3 decades. And yet, there was still some catharsis, and I might say holiness, in the time we spent together. Not only did Reverend Jessica Kemp lead an excellent discussion for our group, but Pastor Kenneth Kemp and Velma Kemp, Reverend Mignon Jones and Span and Willie Span joined us, which was not planned, but made our time together all the more powerful. Not only did their insights and personal reflections affect us viscerally, but their willingness to be there and share candidly clarified and crystallized why our 2 commandments, love your neighbor as yourself, and you shall be holy because I, Adonai, your God, am holy, must be intertwined. We need the power of the collective to experience holiness, and it is only when we reach for empathy, as Rabbi Hirsch defined it, that we must keep our neighbors safe from undue pain as though we ourselves were threatened, will that holiness be achieved. I'm grateful that we already have a personal relationship with these amazing leaders in the San Antonio Black community, that we do not feel obligated to stand on ceremony. And we're working on plans to continue dialogue with our friends at Antioch Missionary Baptist Church to deepen our fellowship and expand the holy work we do together. Because while we can feel good about engaging in these difficult and courageous conversations that have taken place over the last few months, true courage on our part will involve not only hearing about the pain and fear, but a willingness to be part of the work necessary to dismantle the very societal systems, the ones we take for granted, the ones we don't even see, the ones that protect white privilege by disadvantaging people of color. In her Devar Torah, Rabbi Devorah Weisberg reminds us that one of the 2 categories of mitzvot in Torah is bein adam lechavero, actions that we are called upon to perform or actions we should avoid because of their impact on those around us. The results of the Derek Chauvin trial, our conversation about when they see us, they couldn't have come at a more perfectly powerful time from a Torah point of view. Our tradition reminds us of our obligation to show our love for our neighbor in a variety of ways, through kindness and caring, through providing practical resources, and through resolving to make their needs our own. It's not to say that these will be easy tasks. In fact, to truly love our neighbor as ourselves may be one of the hardest commandments in Torah to meaningfully accomplish, but we must try. Kidoshim tihiyu ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem. You shall be holy because I, Adonai, your God, am holy. If timing is everything, now is our time. Amen. We continue now with the concluding portion of our service. Alinu is on page 283. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. As we prepare to join together in the words of the mourner's Kaddish, I share with you meditation number 5 on page 290. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love, what death has touched. On this Shabbat, we consecrate the yahrzeits observed this week of Pearl Abramson, Naomi Alamar, Fanny Baden, Beatrice Beer, Florence Beldner, Harriet Missy Burler, Bernard Batan, Emil Bloom, Robbie Boone, Victor Butnick, Dr. Harold N. Cooper, Eva Eidelberg, Oscar N. Eldridge, Herbert Feldman, Abraham Feinsilver, Herzl Feinsilver, Tina Smith Gardner, Audrey Ruth Glavinsky, Clyde Goldsmith, Zelma Gottlieb, Stanley Hammer, Barbara Bailoff Haleman, Eleanor Honig, Sigmund Hoffman, Henry Josephson, Harvey Julius, Barbara Caden, Sylvan Julian Kaplan, Reuben Langbaum, S. Edgar Levine, Seidel Liffman, Ralph Lyon, Mose McCoe, Molly Meyerowitz, Renee Pomper, Professor Margarita Susanna Petting Rowan, Phyllis Holland Rubenstein, Gertrude Scharf, Hortense Ruth Freeds Sirota, Gloria Silber, Henry Stern, Miriam Mimi Sugarman, Eileen Truehalf, Ellen Trevarthen, Ethel Welsh, Keith West, Hyman Weinker, and Saul Zanair. To their names we link the names of those who died in the last 30 days, their families still in a period of Shloshim. We remember Gerald Hurst, Dr. Elliot Wesser, Bernard Dave Cohen, Harriet Prager, Hillary Sanders, and Margarita C. Rodriguez. To their memories, we link the names of those who are in our own hearts each and every day. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we rise together, one congregation, turning to page 294 to share in the mourner's Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'yizman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivarach le'olam omei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashav b'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiram ba'alma v'yamru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. There are no announcements tonight. Our president, Dr. Amy Benedict, sends her regrets. She had meant to be here, but was still in the OR as services were arriving. So on her behalf, I wish everyone Shabbat Shalom. Invite you to look at our weekly email that comes out every Thursday at 4 p.m. for everything that's going on, as well as our wonderful website. And we hope you'll find ways to be engaged and involved in Temple. On her behalf, I will say, Mazel tov to the Lauderstein family and their extended family who are here, and tomorrow morning is going to be a wonderful and joyous Shabbat celebration together. Our closing song is Hallelujah on page 339.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm on.